Hi everyone. So I decided to make my own videos for you guys, just for those of you that might want to hear some of this material from me. So this first video is going to concern 5.1, which is ratios. So before we start, if you already watched some of the other videos, you'll know that a ratio is a comparison between two values, usually size or quantity, but it can really be anything. And the important thing to realize is that ratios can be written as fractions, where the first number in the ratio is the numerator and the second number is the denominator. So we're going to use that idea moving forward, so make sure that's in your brain. So let's start with an example. Let's look at this cake recipe. So this cake recipe serves 16 people, and we want to make a smaller cake recipe that serves 8 people. So let's start by writing down the recipe. So this first cake recipe needs 8 eggs. It needs 6 cups of flour. It needs 2 cups of butter. 6 cups of sugar. 6 teaspoons of baking soda. And it needs 2 cups of water. Okay, so those are the ingredients for our cake recipe that serves 16 people. So now if we want to make a cake recipe that serves 8 people, we would of course want to cut this recipe in half, right? Because we want to serve half as many people. So let's do that. So instead of 8 eggs, we'll have 4 eggs. Instead of 6 cups of flour, we'll have 3 cups of flour. Instead of 2 cups of butter, we'll have 1 cup of butter. Instead of 6 cups of sugar, we'll have 3 cups of sugar. We'll have 3 teaspoons of baking soda. And 1 cup of water. Right, so we didn't do anything crazy here. What we did was we just cut this cake recipe in half. Okay, so why am I doing this? So let's think about a couple of ratios. So let's think about the ratio of eggs to cups of flour. So let's write that out. So eggs to cups of flour. In the first cake recipe, that ratio would be 8 to 6. Right? Because we have 8 eggs and we have 6 cups of flour. Now let's look at the smaller cake recipe. The same ratio would be 4 to 3. Right? And all we did here, right, when we went from this recipe to the next one, we cut that in half. And that is also, you can see that in the ratio, right? We cut both of those numbers in half, and that's how we get to the second ratio. And if you really think about it, remember I said you can write any ratio as a fraction, where the numerator is the first number and the denominator is the second. And really what we're doing is we're just simplifying this fraction, right? Because we can divide the top and the bottom by 2, and we would get 4/3, which is our second ratio, right? So this is kind of our idea, right? So when we're talking about ratios and we're talking about fractions, they're really interchangeable, right?